powerful in the 1v1, but with Nasus off the table, we do still have Syndra up that we saw earlier. Varus could make yet another appearance, but Powerofevil goes straight for the Orianna, and JISU is looking at the Pantheon, which was banned out earlier. Definitely someone who's super annoying to 1v1, as anyone who has lane to get in his top lane knows it is going to get locked in. That is not a CS to 100 type of champion. That is a, you jump on him, you kill him, or you don't.
Well, you don't really have a combat ultimate, and you're probably not going to outfarm
Combat ultimate is dropping on their head,
Orianna in any sort of CS battle. So JISU, especially with those summoners, I love this already. Getting aggressive.
The funny thing is, there's still a very high chance that it's just Airy or something along those lines again, right? It's probably not going to be Electrocute or something as all-in, but you can set yourself up for the all-in or just to actually push your opponent out of lane by having Mana Flow Ban, by having Airy or Comet or things along these lines. You just Q spam them out, you try to poke them out of lane. Your passive works very well in 1v1s where each auto can make quite a big difference because you are able to block and you can reset that passive with your W on Pantheon, so you can block multiple auto attacks in any of these little sorts of trades. Can be pretty strong. We're going to have to see what they are going to bring out for us exactly, though.
Certainly curious to see what happens here, but finally a mix-up here. You know, as our third 1v1 match is underway. I like Powerofevil playing kind of a trademark champ, but Airy on both sides. Pretty predictable here. Again, such a great harassment keystone.
Yeah, and Corrupting Potion there, that is kind of more of a standard top lane start if you are going to go for these sorts of builds. Would not be surprised to just see him go heavily for that Q harass and try to really get a lot of a poke down on Powerofevil with that. Obviously, Orianna is not a purely auto-attack based champion. You can retaliation trade with your Qs, with your Ws, and use spells only. So we'll have to see exactly how Powerofevil wants to try to play it out. But generally speaking, it is very oppressive in these 1v1s to go up against Pantheon.
Well, we did expect some mix-ups here for Powerofevil, so I'm going to read off his runes for you. Summonary, which we can see. Mana Flow Ban, absolutely great. Absolute Focus, Scorch, Biscuit Delivery, and Futures Market. So secondary inspiration for Powerofevil.
Okay. This is kind of interesting. I actually feel like Futures Market makes a fair bit of sense in the 1v1 situation because if you can actually get a strong early buy, the debt does not really matter because the game is going to very likely end before the debt actually comes into play and you're looking for multiple buys. So you get that one super strong buy on your first back. That seems pretty intelligent. And if you are getting poked out very heavily, well, Biscuit Delivery, if the game is going long enough that you can actually get those biscuits, is going to be the extra potions. But as we can see, Powerofevil has already taken quite a bit of damage, and JISU is going to have a fair bit of sustain with the 3 charges of Corruption there. I also like some of the choices here for JISU. I think Mirror Shell, taking the MR there, as well as Second Wind, is going to help him quite a bit. And Nullifying Orb, that's essentially your mini Hex Drinker in this 1v1. That's a lot of added kind of defense against these magic damage abilities that Powerofevil is going to be looking to spam out.
Yeah, and if you're expecting some sort of all-in at one point along the 1v1, you're going to want that extra bit of shielding and effective health to get you through. Right now, though, PoE up a decent amount of CS. JISU kind of forced to play back. Couldn't quite get the spear harass going.
And I do feel like if you lose control of the creep wave, then it becomes very hard for JISU to look for these trades because Powerofevil can just use all of these ranged minions and the cannon creep to his advantage. And if you're getting pushed back and you're forced into a situation where the Qs are just being used, like these spears are just being used to CS, I think it starts to look very, very dire for the Pantheon because you now cannot actually push forward. You've lost control of the creep wave. You are using your harass tool to CS, but you're going to be able to CS much more poorly than your opponent. And already, I mean, look at the turret damage. Just because of the push that Powerofevil has gotten. And
yeah, that was a double cannon wave that did a fair chunk of damage with a bit of help from Powerofevil to the turret. Finally evening up the experience as well for JISU, was stuck on stranded at level 2 for a while, which isn't going to make it much easier.
And you know it's got to be an all-in, right? It has to be a kill that JISU is looking for. Powerofevil is going for his first base. He has his first biscuit from the mastery that he took there, the rune rather. And because of his Futures Market, he's able to actually get a pretty big buy here, right? This is a Ruby Crystal, a Dorans, and 3 pots on top of the biscuit. Like, even early in the game, you can go, around 200 or so gold into debt, so that is giving him those extra potions perhaps on top, which could really make a world of difference in this 1v1.
Certainly could, and again, a lot of defensive stuff, kind of as expected here. Powerofevil happy to farm things out with the lead he's built for himself already, but of course, if any sort of 1v1 starts, can at least get out, or maybe if JISU expends too many resources and has to kind of force back in a last-ditch attempt to win the 1v1, then Powerofevil can, of course, get that kill. So, like you said, like, the reason the farm condition is basically there is so that games just don't stall out when nobody dies. Because at some point, you're right, you fall too far behind, you're forced to do something, and once you're at that deficit, it's usually pretty difficult, but at least you have some other way out, potentially.
And I mean, JISU is waiting a long time to actually base. I'm wondering now if he literally is just waiting for 6 as his only way to all in. Because then if Powerofevil pushes too far up, you do have the ability to kind of ult in, and that is your gap closer. Like, that is your way to actually prompt this 1v1 that you finally try to force your opponent into. But he would certainly like to get a good buy, right? The turret is taking a lot of damage. He is going to have to go back pretty soon, because if he doesn't go back now, he is 6. He can use his man drop to come back, but the turret is getting low. Like, he pretty much has to all in right away.
Yeah, and I actually love what PoE did there. Hits the back caster creeps, lets them get low, and knows that if he needs to, he can instantly kill them, get 6, and try and get a kill under the turret. But that turret itself might be the actual win condition here for Powerofevil, because it is so low.
Smart from PoE, though. Just go back, right? Yep. Buy as much defense as you can here. You already know you have basically secured the game just based on the turret damage if it does not end up in you getting all in. And that's why he goes back. He buys more potions. He buys another ruby crystal. That is a lot of extra damage that the Pantheon is likely going to be unable to put out. I mean, already 300 extra HP from the ruby crystal. He has the 4 potions on top of that. Yes, there is a serrated Dirk for his opponent, but it's going to be tough for JISU. And it feels like it would probably require a mistake here from PoE for JISU to really be able to find an opportunity, because you can just kite back, like, and you're going to continue to have better push than your opponent with the Orianna wave clear. So unless JISU can find a way to ult in on PoE, I don't know how it really happens from this point.
Yeah, pretty egregious mistake as well. But here's JISU with the ultimate. He's actually going to go for it. Powerofevil going to kite his way back in. JISU jumps on. Exhaust is good though from PoE. And now JISU, shockwave back in. No way good to go. Still is the ignite. And JISU actually still fighting. He might have gotten that kill there, but Powerofevil did have the barrier.
And now he can push in. He can threaten the dive. He has to try to threaten the dive here. If he can get in,
he's going. No, that's too far.
Oh, it's a loss.
He got it. Oh my God, JISU!
You're kidding me. JISU comes up with the miracle kill there. Powerofevil could have just gone back to base. All the summoners were used. The ultimate was down from JISU, and you have to think if PoE just based, he would have been able to come back and knock down that turret for sure, but he had the barrier in his back pocket. He had the confidence that he could do it. But you know what won that 1v1? The Pantheon passive. When you W in, when you stun him, that passive blocks the turret shot. It takes away the advantage that PoE had under his turret, and perhaps he didn't account for that.
One of the few ways in the game to legitimately block a tower shot.
Yep.
Let's watch this gorgeous play again.
Yeah, JISU gets in range. There's the W. Yes, he has turret aggro, but that turret shot blocked right there. Look how close it is. Just barely gives him enough time to get off that last auto for the execute. And JISU has got to be happy about that one.
Well, maybe he's still got business to attend to. Powerofevil